Are you ready?
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Lithium RV here in Forest City, Iowa, where today we are broadcasting live here in our marketing studio at our dealership only 1 mile north of the Winnebago factory based right here in Forest City, Iowa. I want to welcome all of you to today's live interactive presentation where today we're broadcasting live across our website, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live simultaneously, where today we're going to walk through some operational aspects of the lithium-powered Winnebago touring coach Travato 59GL and 59KL, both of which we have here in our studio this afternoon. As we do with all of our live interactive presentations, of course we're going to take all of your questions live, in which you can chat in those questions as we go through today's presentation on the lithium-powered Travato. If you're watching today on Facebook Live, you can very simply comment into the chat box down below in the comments section. If you're on our website, off to the right, you'll see a chat screen that you can chat your questions in live. And if you are watching on YouTube Live, you can also use the chat box and communicate any questions that you may have as we go through the Travato 59GL and 59KL. I want to welcome all of you today, but also welcome all of the folks here at Lithium RV that make these live interactive presentations possible for you, our guests. I want to welcome our marketing team, Hope Litzen, Rhonda Gertis, and also joining us remotely today is Maggie Breister, all three of which are really the ones that are responsible for all that great content that you see on our Lithium RV website. I also want to welcome Heidi Thompson. Heidi is our Vice President and General Manager here at Lithium RV, and as she does each month, she's going to moderate our chat today and cover those questions that are important to you. Also keep in mind, we can do this same type of a live interactive presentation with each of you individually, with any of our factory trained consultants on any of our in-stock RVs at any point in time from anywhere throughout the world. So from the comfort of your own home or office, we can do the same type of live interactive presentation on any of our in-stock RVs that we have here at Lithium RV. So with respect to the lithium-powered Winnebago Touring Coach Travato 59GL and 59KL, we have literally about a dozen different videos that are on each of the vehicle display pages that are on our website on lithiumrv.com. So we thought today, rather than providing you a lot of content, what we would do is cover the questions that are important to you. And I know Heidi mentioned we already had a lot of questions that have already come in that were sent to us through the chat that you see on our website and also through several different emails that we had received. So we're going to cover those. But what we thought today we would do is cover the operational aspects, because we can provide you all the specs and the features and things like that on our vehicle display pages that we have on lithium.com, but really provide you a hands-on virtual experience of how to use the Lithium system today. So what we thought we would do is cover the operational aspects. We'll give a brief overview, and then we'll go into how to use the system, because it is so simple, and that really is the beauty of the comparison of this product that we offer here through Winnebago Industries compared to Road Trek or Coachman. Sound like a game plan?
It does.
Okay. So really the concept with a lithium-powered RV such as the Travato, the 59GL and the KL, is being able to provide complete electrical power to your coach without the need for shoreline power being plugged in, whether it's at your home, resort, or campsite, but also completely cutting the cord and removing any noise associated by removing a generator that provides complete 30-amp whole coach service to your RV. And Rhonda, I'm going to have you come with me here in a second and show you how simple this is to use. The Winnebago Touring Coach Travato, the 59GL and 59KL, include a lithium automotive grade NMC battery pack. And this is in sharp contrast to what you see through other RV manufacturers or through RVers that currently have RVs that have brought in lithium batteries. So this is an automotive NMC grade lithium ion battery pack, which is mounted in the same location of where the Cummins Onan generator normally would be housed inside the Travato. So it's actually mounted crossways in the chassis of the rear axle. The box that it's actually mounted in is absolutely safe, absolutely secure, absolutely weather tight, and climate controlled through the same heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system that we use inside the coach. So really the concept is that you can be using the RV without the need for shoreline power, without the need for a generator, all through simple one-touch operation. Winnebago is the leading RV manufacturer that offers an automotive NMC grade battery pack compared to off-the-shelf lithium batteries that RVers may replace or that Road Trek or Coachman use. Those are lithium LFP style batteries, and they're literally just off-the-shelf batteries. So really think about this much like an automotive hybrid, whether it be a Toyota Prius or a Chevrolet Volt or Bolt, really providing whole coach service in conjunction then with the fuel-efficient ProMaster powertrain. The battery pack that we use provides 8,700 watt-hours of energy. And so you can translate that into how often or how many appliances you can use throughout the course, because we have a very simple power calculator that'll give you a pretty good direction, but it's so simple to use, you'll really get a good feel for how much energy you have to power certain appliances. So again, we remove the generator, we place a lithium ion battery pack, we then pair that with a 3,600 watt pure sine wave and inverter. And a 3,600 watt pure sine wave inverter literally takes that 12 volt power that normally a coach would receive and inverts that into electricity so that you can use things like your microwave and your air conditioner all without being needing to be plugged in or without running your generator. What's also unique about Winnebago's system is that it's actually a 48 volt battery pack, whereas Coachman and Road Trek, they actually use 12 volt LFP style batteries. And we're going to do some comparisons as we go today to Road Trek and Coachman, because even though Road Trek and Coachman did bring their products to market quicker than Winnebago, self-admittedly, Winnebago, although we've never been first to market, when we do it right. And so again, it's an 8,700 watt-hour battery pack. And it looks like you're about to ask me a question.
Nope, I think you continue on.
Continue on. Okay, so the other feedback that Winnebago had received over the years as we monitor usage of a lithium-powered setup is the complexity of use. And with Road Trek and Coachmen, you either have multiple inverters to provide either 17 amp or 25 amp service. Winnebago literally has simple one-button operation to provide complete 30 amp electrical service. So as you use this coach, you'll actually be able to use everything inside the coach, no different than if you were plugged in or running a generator in complete stealth mode off the grid with absolutely no noise whatsoever. And again, that's in sharp contrast of providing only 17 or 25 amps in Road Trek and Coachman setup, but also a much more complex system to use. So literally this coach right now, you could simulate if you were getting ready to use this coach for the very first time, pulling it out of storage and getting ready to hit the road. Very simply, all you do is you press one button, and Rhonda, I'll have you follow along with me. Inside the RV, right, commonly accessed right inside your step wall, there's one button. It's a silver button. You depress it, it'll go through a series of startup checks. So now this has illuminated green. You have a state of charge gauge, which is kind of your fuel gauge, so to speak, of the lithium setup. So it's going through a series of checks right now. You can see the 12 volt illuminated in the coach. You heard the 12 volt powered ventilator fan engage. And then you also heard the microwave provide an audible alert that it is also hot. So right now, with absolutely no noise, we have complete 30 amp electrical service to the coach, being able to run your air conditioner, your microwave and convection oven, and any electrical outlet inside the coach.
And so just to clarify, because this is a question, there is not a 110 appliance that's excluded from that power.
That is correct. So literally every appliance inside the RV is hot right now. And so in essence, what is occurring is we have a 48 volt battery pack, which is mounted in between the rear axles. And that 48 volt battery pack then uses a DC to DC converter. And I don't want to get too complex because it is such a simple system to use. That then provides 12 volt power, and that 12 volt power inverts into electricity to provide complete whole coach electrical service. Or was that too complex?
No. So just a question that has popped up often.
Yeah.
The complexity of the operation of it compared to Road Trek or a Coachman, what is the difference? How are those operated?
So literally with Winnebago system, it's one button operation. If you look at the control panel of a Road Trek or a Coachman, it literally is like jumping into an airplane cockpit. I mean, there are a series of gauges. I believe in one of the models, there's 12 different buttons that you have to go through a sequence. Because again, to provide that amount of electrical power, they have multiple inverters in the coach and not one pure sine wave 3600 watt inverter. So it's a much more complex system to use. And also we'll demonstrate here a little bit later how simple the auto start feature is, which is in essence your standby mode. Did I even answer that question, or did I just talk?
No, you've got it. And then I think just to clarify further, you know, I think there's some confusion that there are a lot of coaches where people can just take off the shelf lithium batteries, put them in. So what's the difference here?
Yeah, so, and just to kind of reiterate that, you can absolutely put lithium batteries in a current coach, so long as the converter is compatible for it. But you're literally not going to have 8,700 watt hours of power. And so what does that mean? So it means I have 8,700 watt hours, so how long can I run certain things? So Volta actually has a great power calculator, and if you run the largest consumer of electricity in the coach, which in this case is the air conditioning system, if you run that at half load with a 13,500 BTU air conditioning system, you can literally run 8 3/4 hours before the auto start kicking in or before you would manually recharge the coach. So again, 8 3/4 hours. Our field tests, we have, what, Heidi, help me out, 22, 25, somewhere in that neighborhood on the road right now. Field tests, in terms of the feedback that we're getting from guests, ranges anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. But again, keep in mind that's because there are other loads being consumed. So the compressor-driven refrigerator obviously uses 12-volt power, no different than in the non-lithium versions. You might be using your 12-volt power points, or excuse me, power staging systems, or TVs, or anything else within the coach. Now, you can also run this coach without having to use the inverter. And so if you're in a fairly mild day, you may not have a need for the air conditioner, and you may not have a need for the microwave or the microwave and convection oven. You can literally run this coach in kind of what we would call 12-volt mode for hours upon days. It's really just that high demand load that you have, which is similar to how RVers right now are using their coaches by momentarily having a need for a generator. Is that better?
You're doing great. I shouldn't pause. It's giving you a lack of confidence. That was great. So just to clarify then as well, when we're talking about 30 amp whole coach service that's available, alternatively, if you are just doing a lithium battery swap, that's where we're talking about 17 amps available on a road track. And less sometimes, they're able to run maybe one appliance and not everything at the same time.
Yeah, and also consistent with that, you need an inverter which is at least 3,600 watts to be able to power an air conditioning system over a long time period. So, you know, not only do you think about, okay, I can replace my current wet cell batteries or even replace my AGM batteries with lithium batteries, you can absolutely do that. But the downside is your coach may not have an inverter to begin with. It may not have a 1,000 or a 2,000 watt inverter. Depending upon what you want to run, you're going to need a larger inverter. So that also drives up that cost. But what's unique about this system is that it is a pure automotive style system. So much like you see in light duty passenger cars and trucks with hybrids on the open road, a Toyota Prius, like I said, a Chevrolet Volt or Bolt, those are NMC grade battery packs. And that is actually what is in the Travato 59GL and 59KL.
So let's transition to talk about charging. I'm going to try to have you cover some things, and I'll go back and catch questions that you haven't hit. But let's talk about how do we charge this?
Yeah, so you can recharge the 48 volt energy pack 3 different ways. Anytime you drive down the road, we have a 58 volt under the hood generator, which is actually an under the hood alternator that provides 6,000 watts of charging power for that energy pack. So that's the first way. If you're traveling down the road, it's going to be recharging that pack automatically. Of course, you could be plugged into shoreline power. You can actually charge the pack on as little as 15 amps of electrical service. So even if you have this coach plugged in at home and you just have a standard residential duplex, you can plug the coach in and it will charge that Pure 3 system. The third way then is through the solar package that comes standard on literally every Travato now, period. And it's a ZAMP system, and standard on the coach is 200 watts. It's a 160 watt panel and a 40 watt panel, so 200 watts total that are rooftop mounted. It's then expandable up to 550 watts. You can expand it either rooftop with side panels, rear panels, or through the quick port for portable solar panels. And most of those can run upwards of 160 watts. So you can get a lot of solar benefit of recharging that battery pack. Also keep in mind that this is a different solar controller than what is on standard RVs, such as the standard Travato 59G and 59K. The MPPT solar controller charger actually provides 30% more energy absorption and charging power compared to the standard solar controller that you see in most RVs. So again, 3 different ways. Driving down the road with the 58 volt alternator, 6,000 watts of charging power anytime that you're plugged in, or if you're just off the grid in the middle of nowhere, you've got 200 watts of solar that is standard that's expandable up to 550 watts.
And so what will charge you the fastest, the quickest?
Yeah, and that's probably our most common question is what charges the fastest? And quite honestly, you would think being plugged in would, but really the strongest, quickest charge is going to be off of the powertrain to the coach, which is also why we then offer a manual charge mode and auto start to replenish that 48 volt energy pack. And again, that's the 58 volt alternator, 6,000 watts. It is a much higher mounted under the hood alternator and also more weather tight compared to the underhood alternators that Rotrec's been using for years. And that's been one of the most common things that we hear from other dealerships is the durability of that under the hood alternator or generator. And again, that's going to provide charging. I know I saw one of the questions that came across earlier. If you have a depleted battery pack, using that 58 volt under the hood alternator or generator, you can fully recharge that pack in about an hour to an hour and a half. Earlier this week, we had one that was down to about 25–30%, and one of our master RVDA certified technicians mentioned that it took about 45 minutes to fully recharge that to 90%. Fully recharge that to 90%, so that didn't make any sense. So to 90%, because that's how the auto start feature runs. It'll get up to 90% and then it will shut down, and we'll cover that here in a minute.
So then just lots of questions about the air conditioning. How long can you run it off of the Volta system? Yeah,
so the Coleman high efficiency air conditioning system, if you run it at half load, if you don't have anything else turned on, about 8 3/4 hours. If you have other loads through 12 volt power point stations, if you're running the Truma system, that Truma Combi Eco Comfort Plus, if you're running the microwave and convection oven, and of course you're probably going to be running your compressor driven refrigerator all the time, more closely assimilates 6 to 8 hours.
And we've had lots of real world testimonials that they've been on the road even for months.
Yeah, in early July when we received our first lithium powered Travato, it was like me next week, you know, waking up on Christmas morning. I wanted to see how long it would run. So we had a fully charged energy pack. I literally ran it outside. I think it was 88 to 90 degrees, ran it for 6 hours, and I never dropped below probably 40% or so. It really just ran flawlessly and quiet. I mean, it's so strange to see an RV literally in the middle of nowhere with the air conditioning system running, and it's perfectly quiet. I mean, that's really the true appeal to the coach.
And that was really the first thing that we talked about when we had one in to test it. It was just very unusual.
Yeah, it's bizarre because normally if you think about an air conditioning system running, you're either next to a building or plugged in, or you have, you know, a noisier Cummins owned generator running.
Let's cover one more topic in depth, and then I'm going to hit you with a bunch of questions. Can you review cold weather? You know, operation in cold weather. You know, is this going to work in cold weather? What do I need to do that's special?
Yeah, so again, the 48 volt energy pack is in a climate controlled, perfectly safe housing, which is mounted between the 2 rear tires on the rear axle. And a really good rule of thumb, and this is absolutely proven based on what we've seen out in the marketplace, if you're comfortable inside the Travato, so are your batteries. Now, that really is more applicable from a usage standpoint. So if you're out, you know, on a day like today, where you may have a need for that Truma Combi system to provide you some radiant heat, it's also going to be heating your Pure 3 pack. And so, again, it's very simple. If you're comfortable inside the coach, your batteries are going to be comfortable as you use them. Now, if you do store the coach and you have fairly constant temperatures, Volta will recommend that you keep the coach plugged in, which is perfectly safe. Since it is a lithium system, you can't overcharge the batteries. If you are in a colder climate, the best way to store that RV is very simply put it to sleep by depressing the button and turning the system off. And you can actually go well below 0 in terms of the storage parameters. If you want to charge the system, the battery pack does need to be in kind of that low 40 degree range. It will actually have a low temp alert at 37, and it then has to get up to 43.
To take a charge. To
take a charge. So again, that's if you're bringing it out of storage or if you wanted to leave it plugged in year-round during storage. But as we get into sub-freezing temperatures, we very simply shut the systems off. In fact, we've been doing a little bit of a study over the last month or so where we've left the coaches in storage with the system completely off, And then once a week, we've gone out and we've taken the readings, and literally that state of charge gauge has not changed. Because it's such a simple system to use. You literally have the fuel gauge right next to the button that turns the system on and off. It's very easy to monitor. And if you don't want to monitor it, you can use auto start mode. But in terms of cold weather or hot weather considerations, did I kind of cover that question?
Yes.
A really good point of reference is I did a blog entry, and our marketing team published it on our website on Lithium RV, lithium.com, and it talks about cold weather storage considerations and cold weather usage in the Pure 3 system. But again, as long as you're comfortable inside the coach, because this is a 4-season coach, as long as you're comfortable inside the coach, the Pure 3 system is going to be absolutely fine to take a charge and use throughout the course of colder temps.
And I think just to clarify, on temps cooler than 40 degrees, running the Truma heats that battery box and you're good to go.
Absolutely. Yep. So your primary source of heat will be the Truma Combi system. The Truma Combi Eco Comfort Plus provides whole coach heating, but also continuous on-demand unlimited hot water. And we've got some great instructional tools in our website through our walk-arounds and things like that. So we'll not cover that today, but again, that's your primary source of heat. It's also your primary source of hot water, and that can run off of electricity or off of LP.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Off of YouTube, what is the lifespan of the batteries?
Lifespan of the batteries. So the estimated useful life of the batteries is 10 years. It does come with an 8-year warranty. Again, keep in mind it's an automotive NMC grade battery pack, that 48-volt battery pack. It is the exact same warranty that you would find if you went out and bought a brand new Toyota Prius. 8-year warranty.
Could you add a plug on the side of the van so that owners could make use of electric or car charging facilities to charge the lithium batteries, like you see in a store parking lot where they have the lithium?
Wow, that is a really good question. That is a great question. Thank you.
Sydney.
To be honest with you, I don't know. However, if they do make an adapter that will allow you to use the automotive style charging facility to provide 110 volt electricity, absolutely, because then that's no different than being plugged in. But I can research that. If you want to shoot us an email or chat in with your email address, I'd be happy to research that and get back to you. But that is a really good question that I've never had asked. Just keep in mind though, what is unique about this is you're going to get your strongest charge by driving this coach, because the coach will actually recharge, and it recharges when you have RPM levels in the coach of 1500 to 3700. So again, that's why there's 2 alternators on the ProMaster chassis, which then also includes high idle mode, because you want to be able to get to that 1600 RPM for that Pure 3 pack to fully charge within about an hour to an hour and a half.
David on YouTube has a couple of questions. Is the vehicle a true 4-season capable motorhome? It
is. All of the freshwater systems are enclosed in the coach. The Truma Combi system provides complete heat to the coach, and then we parlay that with the heated drainage system option so that you can drain that coach in sub-freezing temperatures. Even the outside wash station or outside shower is actually enclosed within the cargo doors.
Is the air conditioner on the roof or underneath?
Is it what?
On the roof or underneath?
The air conditioner is rooftop mounted, and that's no different if it's a standard Travato or a lithium-based Travato.
Our friend Shirley, who we know, is wondering if there is a website to further review this.
Shirley, good afternoon and welcome. Yes, go to lithium.com, click on new RVs, and if you click on the Travato, you'll see about a dozen different videos. We have a great, probably, what is it, Rhonda, 48, I'm trying to get you to talk, 48 to 55-minute video that literally walks around the outside and the inside. It covers every aspect of it. We then have about another 8 to 10 videos that talk about specific components of the Travato. We even provide to you an educational orientation. So one of the things that everybody raves about in our Google 5-star reviews and our Facebook reviews, where we do a half-day class with you, we send that to you in advance. It gives you a great foundation for learning how to use the coach.
Jake on our website would like to know if this can be retrofitted to Views and Navions.
It can be. The Pure 3 system can be retrofitted to another coach. It does become fairly price sensitive. It does become expensive to do.
Gene is wondering if the system is idiot-proof. Can he hurt it in low temps?
That's a great question. And actually, if you can press a button on and off, you're good to go, because that's the best way to store it in cold temps, is just turn the system off, make sure that it's charged above 50%. There's a gauge that goes from 0 to 100. If it's north of 50, turn it off, put it to sleep, and you're good to go to store it.
Has Winnebago had this road tested? Did the batteries hold up, or were they plugged in a lot to charge batteries?
That is a great question. Has it been road tested? So we have a lot of different cases out there. We have a couple of partners at Winnebago, employees that have used these for, first of all, it's been in the works for 2 to 3 years. But I know several employees at Winnebago that have had these out on the open road almost a year. One individual has put on nearly 10,000 miles, has used the system, never put it in storage, continued to use it just like a mobile home.
Never had it plugged in.
Never had, I'm sorry, that's the point I was trying to make. And never had the coach plugged in to a shoreline pole, to a home, to a resort, to a campground. Has literally been off the grid for almost a full year.
And Volta, prior to this RV application, has used it.
Yeah, this isn't Volta's first rodeo. I mean, they've been using these types of systems in other applications, especially in over-the-road applications. And so this is the first size system for an off-the-grid van.
Jeffrey on YouTube has a good comment. Where is the alternator generator located? People complain that it is located very low in the Heimer. The low clearance can cause damage. Are there any clearance issues with the Travato? Yeah,
that's a really great question, and it's a good comparison against Road Trek and Coachman. And as we talk to other dealerships, the frustrations that people get is the way that Road Trek mounts that under the hood alternator. It's much lower to the ground than Winnebago does. Rhonda has some great photos that show the deflectors and the ventilation and the mounting of how high that 58 volt under the hood alternator is mounted. It's mounted up high, so it provides, ground clearance is not an issue whatsoever. And the way that it's mounted with the louvers, road debris does not become an issue. We have several of these that are approaching the 10,000 mile mark, and we have not had a single road debris issue, to my knowledge.
No, that's correct.
Yeah, so absolutely proven. So again, that touches on the under the hood alternator or generator. The actual battery pack, again, is mounted in the same location, and there's some great detailed shots on our website of this, towards the rear axle, intentionally, for a couple of different reasons. First of all, the rear axle has a higher gross axle weight rating, but also it maintains adequate ground height. And if you really kind of think about this, this has always been a question that we get with the Winnebago Travato. Our drainage station, which is located just on the other side of this, appears to be fairly low. So if you think about even this mud guard right here, I mean, it's a matter of inches off the ground. If you think about why that doesn't have any ground clearance issues, it's because of the jounce of the vehicle. So as you change elevations, the axle will absorb that and the whole coach will move up and down in the same direction as the change in elevation. So we don't have any ground clearance issues with the drainage station, which is actually located lower than the Pure 3-pack. In fact, I know one of the questions that Heidi and I talked about ahead of the webcast is the fact that the ground clearance on the Pure 3 Energy Pack is the same height as what would be the Cummins own generator. Have never had any issues with those bottoming out, and it maintains that same 7.25 to 7.5 inch ground clearance with the Pure 3-pack.
Which is another question. Then I'm going to switch to Facebook for some questions there. But weight difference between the gen and the batteries?
Yeah, great question. Approximately the same. You're still going to maintain 1,600 to 1,700 pounds of occupant and cargo carrying capacity, which would then be deducted for people, cargo, anything that you put on board, and then any fresh water that you may maintain. So again, about 200 pounds when you're all in. A Cummins own and generator, I believe, is around 155 to 160 pounds. So it's about a push, which is great news because typically batteries are very, very heavy. And so it's about a push compared to what a generator would be.
Okay, Tim on Facebook has great questions. Tim needs to join us every time we do this because he has really good questions. Setup is great. The big question is the Lithium system actually worth the money? You know, between the Travato and the Lithium series, how long to actually make that money back, if ever?
That's a great question, and I could tell that it was going to be a difficult question based on Heidi's reaction. However, what I can tell you is that you'll never be able to pencil it out in fuel. It would take thousands of hours. Where you pencil it out is the benefit of being off the grid, the benefit of not having to use a generator, the benefit of being able to be away from your coach, pets, climate control inside, safety, being able to cut the cord and literally go wherever you want and maintain that same lifestyle. Those are kind of the non-monetary intangibles that allow the price to equate to the value that you're going to get, because it is more expensive.
And like the Revel and some other things that have been developing on the B-Van side, this truly, the guests that are purchasing this accommodates their RV lifestyle. This is how they use it. A lot of guests don't use it this way, and they shouldn't do this.
Right.
They're going to be plugged in.
And what's really cool is seeing the experiences that our guests have when they're out, whether they're in a Travato and they may not need four-wheel drive and that off-the-grid capability, but they literally are on sandy beaches and forested areas that you would never imagine even existed in North America. But if you look at some of our 4x guests, they're going off of unserviced roads that you would never be able to venture on your own. And you really can't put a price tag on that. And so it's tough to figure out if it's going to pencil out, and it probably never will, but you have to look at the non-monetary benefits that you're getting in terms of the lifestyle.
Is there an hour meter to know how many engine hours someone ran the engine in idle mode like you have on generators? It could be a difference potentially later if someone boondocks 100% versus someone who boondocks rarely.
There is. You can determine the hour meter on the engine by using, many RVers will be familiar with this term, such as a scan gauge. You can actually hook it up to the OBD2 port, which is kind of the plug-and-play access that technicians use. And when you connect that, you can see the number of hours that an engine has idled, so the hour meter on the engine, so to speak, compared to the odometer that the chassis would read. But keep in mind, it's absolutely compliant with what Ram ProMaster recommends out on the open road. Absolutely compliant, because we use the high idle mode option that Ram ProMaster offers to their commercial guests, their commercial clients, for idling the coach.
Bob would just like you to repeat the battery bank watts available again.
You bet. So the Pure 3 pack has 8,700 watt hours. Now, if you are going to correlate that to the power calculator that's on Volta's website, you would use the 10.1 kilowatt energy pack, and the difference is the fact that we have some parasitics that don't provide the complete 10.1. It's actually 8,700 watt hours, but it's the same power calculator that's on Volta's website. So you can then go and select, which appliances you're going to use, and it'll give you the estimated available electricity for those appliances based on a fully charged battery.
We have several questions across all platforms just regarding access to the batteries. I mean, is that something that owners are doing? Is there access? Is it sealed?
It's sealed to the extent that if you don't know what you're doing, you probably shouldn't. And there is kind of a strange looking key that guests receive that is really designed for mechanical access to turn that system off for servicing, although I think we've used it more out of curiosity than the need for being able to provide any technical assistance. But you can absolutely access it. We haven't had a guest in the year or so that we've been using this now in the 10,000 miles have a need for it, so to speak. But if you want to, we can show you how. We just will advise you not to.
Right. There are a lot of questions about the cost of the battery pack itself, down the road for replacement. Do we have
it's funny. We get that question periodically from guests about what the cost is to replace the batteries. But when we talk to other automotive dealers, nobody really ever asks what it costs to replace batteries in a Toyota Prius or a Chevrolet Volt or a hybrid. Again, it's an 8-year warranty. What I can tell you is that the incremental cost to go to a Travato, 59GL or 59KL, is about $20,000 over a base Travato. But again, it's impossible to predict what it's going to cost in 8 years because we have such a suppression of the cost of technology. Just like a computer, several years ago may have been $4,000 to $7,000. Now you can buy them for as little as $300 to $400. So it's tough to say in 8 years what lithium technology is going to cost. What we can tell you is that over time, it significantly drives down cost.
And then we feel much older.
What's that?
And then we feel older and older.
Well, of course we feel older.
Does the underhood second gen void a Fiat Ram warranty?
No, not in any way. It does not void any warranty.
Does Winnebago have any plans to make the Travato a 4x4?
We have been asking for that for a long time. What I can tell you is the answer is no, because ProMaster does not offer a 4x option.
And just lots of questions. Is this in general on the horizon for Winnebago in other models?
I think it is on the horizon for other models, but very, very gradually. Very, very gradually. Because again, it's a big nut to crack in terms of the incremental cost. I think it'll be a slow road.
Mark on YouTube asked, if the Travato is a 4-season unit, are there any precautions that need to take place during 20-degree temps and colder?
No, there really aren't. In fact, that's a really good benchmark that a lot of our guests are asking us about, that 16 to 20 degree range. And we have so many people that get frightened because overnight it might drop below 32 degrees. If you're warm in the coach, you're going to be perfectly safe for your freshwater systems. And then again, if you need to drain those tanks, you can absolutely just use the heated drainage option.
Can you go through the auto start?
Absolutely. So let's go through the auto start. So again, as simple as using the system, we have the Pure 3 system engaged right now. And right now, our state of charge is about 85% right now in this particular coach. And so let's talk about kind of what the experience would be. So I'm getting ready to leave. Maybe I'm getting ready to leave for a day trip. I may be going out hiking, kayaking, just out away from my coach. I may have a pet inside or somebody that's not real familiar with how to use the coach. And I want to make certain that, first of all, my batteries don't get low, but maybe I want to leave the air conditioning on throughout the course of the entire day. So we have a couple of different ways that we can recharge batteries. So again, overall, just 3 ways, through the engine, through being plugged in, and through solar. So let's talk about using the engine if I'm away, I'm off the grid, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I want to leave the coach and I want to leave the air conditioning running. So a couple of things with respect to the auto start feature. So you do have to have at least 25% fuel within the coach because it does ensure that you can't run the coach dry. So you have to have at least 1/4 of a tank of fuel. You want to ensure that the hood is closed, which it of course normally would be, but it's one of the things that we always recommend because it won't run without it. You do have to have the emergency brake set, okay? And then it will automatically kick in when the analog state of charge gauge reaches approximately 25 to 35%. It will then turn the engine on automatically. It will jump into high idle mode and it will recharge at approximately 1600 RPM, and it will recharge to 90% on the analog gauge or up to 1 hour or up to engine coolant temperature, help me out, 213?
219.
219, if the engine gets up to 219 degrees. So then it'll shut back down. Very simple to use. I get ready to leave. I've got the emergency brake set. That's all you have to have, which most people have set anyway. I don't have to do anything else inside. And very simply, all I do is I hit the lock button 3 times. And then what will happen is it will honk. The dash will illuminate. And now the system is armed. I can walk away and know that my batteries are never going to get low. My air conditioning will be purring along without any issue whatsoever. No noise outside the coach. And I have complete 30 amp whole coach electrical service throughout the course of the day. Again, until that state of charge battery gauge reaches approximately 25 to 35%, which if you have a fully charged battery is going to last you 6 to 8 hours, 8 3/4 hours if that's the only demand you have inside. If you want to take it out of auto start, very simply unlock the vehicle 3 times. And now it's out of auto start mode. And you'll be able to tell, and we've got some great pictures and videos on our website, but there's a little silver gauge inside that illuminates when it's armed for auto start. You can also use auto start in what's called stealth mode, which very simply means it's going to arm itself in auto start, but it's not going to honk the horn. And so it'll be a more quiet way to arm the system. Did I cover anything without all my stammering and stuttering?
That was really good. I have a question that I don't know if you know it. Are the running lights on then when it's?
No.
Okay.
No. What's also consistent with that, which most people don't think about, there is an anti-theft measure because people think that if the engine's running, somebody could jump in and take off. There is an anti-theft measure in there. You do have to actually apply the brake. When you do, it automatically disengages the system. So that's auto start. So then let's also talk just real briefly about a manual recharge mode. So if you think about a common RV, you would think, okay, my batteries are getting low, or I need to run my air conditioning system, so I'm going to turn on my generator. So you can do a manual recharge mode in this, and you do it the exact same way. You arm the system for auto start, and then very simply press that silver button 3 times. It will start the vehicle into high idle mode. It will recharge those batteries up to 90%. It will then turn the engine off, and you're good to go. So it's just a way to manually recharge your batteries. If you literally have no access to electricity, maybe it's a cloudy day, you want to recharge your batteries, you can just run it through a manual cycle. Now, the beauty of Winnebago's auto start system is that you are not limited on how many times that can auto start, okay? Whereas with Coachman and Road Track, there's a cap on how many times you have to do that before you re-enter, I believe, and restart the engine with a key in, I believe. But it's not limited with the Pure 3 system from Winnebago.
Is it loud when it's charging? And then also, what sounds accompany the Lithium system?
So literally the only, and you probably can't even hear it through today's live presentation, there's a small cooling fan that provides a little bit of white noise. I can barely hear it right now when the system is operational. And literally the only noise that you're going to have when it's charging is the sound of the engine. And it's a quiet engine to begin with. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any plans to add a thermostat to the air conditioner?
That's a good question. It's something we've been asking Winnebago for quite a while. It hasn't been developed yet to where we could thermostatically control the air conditioner, but certainly put it on your wish list like we have.
Getting to the end of questions, but a question we get a lot and a question we've had a little bit today in terms of the solar charging of the system.
Yep.
Is the solar that you get adequate? Are people adding a lot of packs? Like, what is our experience?
So our experience has been that 200 watts of solar is enough to recharge the batteries kind of in trickle mode, but also to keep up with 12-volt loads in the coach, of which the primary load is going to be that compressor-driven refrigerator and freezer. And one of the videos that you see in our video library, but also on our Travato pages, we like to tinker and kind of toy with things and be able to tell our guests literally what they can expect if they're going to use a coach. And so we took a Travato and with a compressor-driven refrigerator, which actually only had 100 watts of solar at the time, and placed it in the middle of our facility, and it purred along for an entire week, maintained proper 37-degree temp in the fridge, 0 degrees in the freezer, and it was literally running in isolation. So unless you have a high demand for an air conditioner, and even with periodic use of the microwave or the microwave and convection oven, you're going to be fine with solar only. That's going to be enough to recharge that system. Where you really have the big draw is when you run your air conditioner, but then again, you've got other options for that.
And I think we just find that the person who's buying this is, that's probably their like supplemental backup charging. It's happening because they're off.
Right. And if you also think about it, unless you're in a real hot climate, granted, there's great flexibility inside the coach, but again, it's 21 feet, and you can cool 21 feet pretty darn quickly and maintain a pretty comfortable temperature with minimal usage of the air conditioning system. So we find that people that are using auto start are kind of few and far between. Typically, when you reach your destination, you've been driving, and you're going to get that highest charge when you're driving, and let's say you're purring along at 2,800 or 3,700 RPM, that's quickly recharging those batteries. And so when you get to your destination, you're fully charged to begin with. So unless you have a real significant need for an air conditioning system, you're pretty much going to be good in isolation off the grid with solar alone. And if you stay at one destination for quite a while, we can add additional solar. We can add 160 watts, so nearly doubling the solar load very simply with a portable solar panel.
We've had questions, and I'll wrap with this last question, just about the fear of having this new product and them knowing how to use it and understanding the system, understanding how to own it and how to care for it.
Yeah, and we understand that. You know, we're consumers outside of our jobs as well, and so we're a little bit leery with new technology. Just understand, this is not necessarily new technology. It's been used in over-the-road applications for years. You know, the first Toyota Prius came out, what, 12, 18 years ago. And so automotive NMC battery technology has been out a very long time. We've been using larger inverters for a very long time. It's just finding the right size, the right partner, and kind of finding that right sweet spot with respect to cost to be able to bring it into an RV application. So, and not only that, we already have several different proven testimonials of people that are out on the road putting upwards of 10,000 miles on the lithium powered systems that we have on the road right now. So, you know, it is proven.
And we hope that we send them off with the education they need.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why we make so many different tools that we have available to you to not only prepare you for that half-day class that you're going to go through with our Master RVDA certified technicians on the day of your delivery, but I mean, that's really been the benefit that we see people talking about of doing business with Lithium RV, is that we can continue to work with you even down the road, and in many cases provide much better service than a local dealer with our remote availability.
And our access to Volta.
And our access to Volta. You know, Volta was in our store right away because they really wanted to ensure that they had higher volume dealers, well trained. In fact, I believe Volta was in our store within a week or two of when we returned from the Winnebago conference all the way back in March. So we have an open dialogue with Volta and a great partnership.
You did it. That's all I've got.
Good questions today. And actually, the one question that I owe an answer on charging stations that are available at businesses, malls, schools, things like that. If you shoot me your email address, I'll see if there are some ways that can be brought into 110 volt power at a 30 amp plug. But again, great questions today, and really that's why we want to do these live interactive presentations for you, because you know, not only do we have great content on our website and have for a long time based on you know how talented our marketing professionals are, we really want to be able to cover the things that are important to you in real world applications. So just keep in mind that if there is something specific that you want to see, we can do the same type of a live interactive presentation from the comfort of your own home or office, literally throughout the world. We can conference in a partner or a spouse for a great little three-way and have great dialogue on the things that are important to you as an RVer on any of our in-stock RVs with any of our factory-trained consultants. So again, I want to thank all of you for joining us today. We will continue to keep our chat lines open on all three channels, but also keep in mind on our website, on Lithium.com, we staff that chat with true Lithium RV team professionals. Outside of business hours, we do outsource it, but during normal business hours, you'll receive quality experience from a Lithium RV team member as we broadcast live today in our marketing studio here at Lithium RV, where we're based only 1 mile north of the Winnebago factory right here in Forest City, Iowa.